Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Tangent. This is for Thursday, May 9th. This is the 16th show of the Weekly Tangent here on WildTangent. How you doing, man?
Good.
We think we got the mic stuff figured out. We're not hiding behind it. We're doing more of a leafy. I think that's a guy on YouTube that kind of talks like that. But
yeah, this works significantly better for me.
It does, so. Yeah. And you hear Brooks, co-host of the Weekly Tangent, much better. I'm Greg, the other host. And yeah, it's been 1 week already.
Yeah.
Man, it just flies by. We've been sitting around wondering what we need to do, and man, there's always another show, something else, more games, more news. We got plenty of news. We were just sitting here talking about it and kind of shuffling our stuff around with our extra keyboards and mice and everything else.
The last few weeks, man, I'll tell you, it's like I get into work on Mondays. When I get in, and it's like I blink and it's Wednesday, and then I blink and it's Thursday, and then the week's over. We've just been so busy recently.
I know, it's been really, really packed.
I'm pretty stoked about just all the stuff we've been doing here at the office, though.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot done. We've gotten more games up. We launched, in the past couple of weeks, we've launched a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Risk of Rain 2 is one that we've launched.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to be playing that one later today, so that'll be fun. Risk of Rain, I remember Risk of Rain, oh man, back when I first started streaming, it was getting popular. So this would have been 2013, 2012,
right. Yeah.
2013. Nice roguelike, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of enemies. Just see how long you can stay alive. Basically, was it, and get upgrades, and then kind of try to figure your way off.
Yeah, the new one's quite a bit different as well.
It is. It in some ways, it's got it's stylistic. It's got its own design. It's got another dimension, as they say on their Steam page, which was kind of funny, or our page. And then it's also got kind of the same design, but feels a little bit like, I don't know, like a Dark Souls that has shooting in it, like the Surge. I don't know. Not like those. It's not like those, but it has its own design to it, but and feel. But I don't know. It's got some neat mechanics.
It's interesting how they made the transition from a 2D game to a 3D game.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure. I mean, that's always interesting to see. I'm impressed when developers, especially indies, can kind of pull that off.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Bring it around a different way. Then we've got, basically 4 other games we're going to talk about, go through. But before we get to that, I mean, what's happened this week in the world of gaming? There's been plenty.
Shoot, where do we start? So I guess we'll start with Capcom announced Monster Hunter was their best-selling... Monster Hunter World was their best-selling game ever.
And we both enjoyed that game.
You and I have played a tremendous amount of Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, Monster Hunter was great. I've never played the one on Switch yet, or the 2 on Switch. I think there's 2. Our buddy Steven used to talk about the first one that was coming out, but then there was another one that they had brought out. So one was international, basically outside of the U.S., and one was for the U.S.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
I got a little spoiled with the game because I showed up to Monster Hunter Worlds late to the party.
Yeah.
And I had only ever seen them before, so when I showed up with all the quality of life improvements, going backwards is a little little rough.
Yeah, you go back to the Nintendo DS. I think was the original one. Yep. But the worst, I don't know if it's the worst one. The one that I did not like at all, although it had some upgrades and it had some different designs, was the PSP version.
Yeah.
Was not a fan of that one. But then, got to the 3DS when they did Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. Was that it?
The one that
Monster Hunter Tri Ultimate. It was the one that
had cross save.
Had the cross save between the Wii U and the 3DS.
I remember showing it. I remember you showing it to me when we were still in Redmond.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that one. That one was fun. It was definitely the old school version. Even on the Wii U, it was it was lacking compared to World. I mean, World is much more advanced in every way.
Yeah, and I guess I was sitting there and when we were talking about this story, I was like, Resident Evil 1 hasn't sold 12 million copies, which I kind of thought about for a minute, but then I took it the next step and I was like, okay, so Monster Hunter World went from basically a portable game and they moved it to all the mainline systems and PC. And then it's got I think the game might have struck a little bit of a nerve with some of those fans of like the big open world kind of multiplayer games, your Divisions or whatever. Because I knew a bunch of people that were playing that style of game.
Yeah.
That had never played Monster Hunter as well.
Yep. So we brought a lot of them with us to give it a try.
Yeah.
I mean, they were their first time into the world, and I mean, it's a looter shooter. It's not a looter. It's a looter. It's not a shooter, right? There's stuff that you want and has the same draw as kind of the looter shooter world.
Instead of the like, we're collecting drops, we're collecting things to make better gear, right? So if you want your pieces, you're like, okay, here's the piece I want to make.
Yeah.
Here's the monsters that drop said materials.
Yeah, you're looting the materials to then go and craft everything up to build the best suit to get through the ranks.
So when I knew the game was a hit when you'd kind of sold me on it and we played it and we were having a good time. The second we get some of our extended friends who they tend to maybe play a more stricter set of games that they like to play like one or two games. We saw the Division and Anthem types or Destiny types or whatever throw 500 hours at the game. That's when I knew it was a really good game.
Yeah, there were some people throwing a lot of time at that game. A lot more than I threw at the game. I mean, I played... You and I probably didn't touch you, but I played about 100 hours, I think.
Oh, we played a tremendous amount.
I know that you played more because you were playing with most of the guys that you brought on, so it was... or most of the guys, gals, whatever, whoever it may be, we ended up playing with. You were playing with the majority of those.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, what did we have, I think? Yeah, we must have had, 7 or 8 people collectively all kind of playing at the same time.
I would have to think, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And then they just showed off their expansion today for September 6th, so sign me up to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. See what they do with that. What else happened? We had some news on the Apple App Store that's getting ready to launch.
When is that launch?
Well, Apple Arcade, which is launching late June, mid-May, sorry.
Okay, so this is the service where Apple's they're trying to recruit developers to make games for iOS, or is this a subscription? How does this work?
So it's going to be a subscription.
Okay.
And they're going to have about 100 exclusive games.
Okay.
That are on mobile, which, we kind of go back and forth on exclusives. And exclusives made by a company, we've talked about are different than going out and buying up exclusives.
Sure.
Which I don't know if I'm all for. We were talking prior to the show, complaining about, not complaining, but talking more about, Epic's, they're listen to me but don't follow what I do mentality, where it's like, yeah, bring me your exclusives, but Fortnite's going to be everywhere. We talked about that, beat that drum. So, Apple, they don't make games. They're just trying to gather the roundup for them so that they can have them in their stable and not on Google Play, and that can give them another advantage over other said mobile devices, mobile companies, things like that. So, and there's probably going to be some good games come out of it for sure.
I'm certain of it. Yeah,
they always do that. But yeah, I mean, kind of goes back to exclusivity does well for companies, not for consumers.
Right.
So,
how long before? Okay, so let's look a little further down the runway. They're going to launch the arcade.
Yep.
It'll presumably I think it'll probably do well. That would be my expectation.
Yeah.
How long before Apple just starts buying game developers and brings them in-house?
It would be interesting. I would think that they wouldn't do that just for mobile plays, but maybe they would.
Okay.
I would think that is the bigger question. If they start buying developers, are they going to buy developers that seemingly will extend their reach onto PC and other platforms?
Yeah.
Will it extend their services? Very similar to Amazon. That's what I would think. Amazon acquired Twitch for a reason. They acquired The other studios that they brought in-house, they built Lumberjack for specific reasons, and that was to like push AWS and like all the services that go around that. So I think it has to be strategic for them to do it, and it takes a lot of money to make something strategic for Apple.
Okay.
Unless there's a lot of opportunity, right? I think it's either their world is build the opportunity, or there's going to be a large sum. I don't even know if the amount of money that it would take to currently draw them away from the App Store or making iPhones or Macs or something like that would be tremendous. I mean, it
would have to be substantial.
Yeah, it'd have to be into the hundreds of billions of dollars.
Right.
So it's more like the opportunity to make that probably is more interesting to them.
Because when I asked that question, you expertly went right into where I was thinking that, okay, so if Apple's going to buy these developers, it's like, does that mean that, okay, so the games will be on our devices, but the PC versions, the console versions, the Switch version, is that a thing to maybe, down the road, or how does that all intersect?
Yeah, I think, there is a world where Twitch is on everything and has the most reach. YouTube is another one like that.
Okay.
They can become distribution platforms.
Right.
We've seen Twitch do that already. Discord, we talked about this the other day, them doing it. I think in the end, it doesn't matter how much reach they have. It's the value that the end consumer sees in it, or what makes their life and experience better. There's some ex-executives out there that have created Caffeine, which is another type of streaming service, much smaller than Mixer as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
And much smaller than Hitbox and some other ones out there. But, they're potentially building it up to maybe one day be the one that Apple would acquire, right? I mean, there's always that connection. When you leave a company, you start something.
Sure.
You get to do deals with those companies. Apple's a little bit different. It's like a juggernaut, but, you could say the same for, what is it, Strictly Limited and... not Strictly Limited. These are those companies that do the limited physical runs.
Yep.
I'm thinking of the one that the executives spun out of Devolver Digital, which is Small Batch Games, I think it was, was theirs, and they were doing a lot of Devolver Digital games.
Okay.
So,
sure.
That kind of like old friend relationship still carries on, even after. But it's about money, trust me. It's about money in the industry and, where you're going to make money. Not all the time, but it's still a leading factor.
Yep.
Let's say that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Apple does. I don't even know how in the hell we got around to Strictly Limited and Small Batch, but that was a long...
we were talking about the arcade, and if we're going to talk about, the money and
where
the thing,
it goes and what makes it interesting to them.
You sent me over a story that was the amount of people that playing games in China will reach 76 million by 2023 effectively.
You mean 767 million or 776 million?
Sorry, yes.
It's double the population of the U.S.
There was a typo on my laptop. Sorry about that. 767.
767. It doubles the U.S. population, and that will just be the gamers in China.
So if...
in 2020.
We've been asked this before. We've talked about this before. People are always like, why do we see Blizzard moving to China, or Tencent acquiring X, Y, and Z games to bring to China.
Yep.
And so if you're wondering why, that is the reason.
Yeah, with about that time, I mean, I don't know the Chinese population, but I would imagine it'll be encroaching 2 billion people.
I don't know what it is today.
It's over 1.6, I know that. So, I mean, that's 5 years from now.
Right.
And we've just become more populated than ever, right, in the world. I don't know if they'll grow that fast, but I mean, they're coming up on another big number, which is 2 billion in some time within a decade.
It is a tremendous amount of players, and I saw something else interesting, kind of tangentially related to it, where Nintendo had been talking about they're going to do the Switch in China.
Yeah.
And even on their earnings call, they're like, we're admitting this is an uphill battle. Almost everybody in China plays on a PC or a phone.
Yep.
So it's like, if you want to think about, that's how massive it is. That you have a company like Nintendo that
now makes mobile phone games.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, I mean, it makes sense. You've got to chase opportunity, right? I mean, again, that's kind of what Apple's looking at. I mean, they're selling there too, and it's, Steam is trying to get in there, and they're doing a good job with their work. I'm sure that Epic's trying to do that. Really, Tencent has that commanding initial out the door lead because they are based in China. They have the ability to understand the market better. I mean, being there, what game do they make, or what game do they own?
I mean, they've got PUBG, right?
Right. I mean, that's a big game, and we were just talking about that. Even being there, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make you immune to like censorship.
Right. Yep.
And what happened there? I mean,
they had to. The game is okay. So the game got taken down.
Yep. For about 1 minute, probably.
Right. Yeah.
It was a big news story, but it was probably only like 1 minute that it was actually off the store.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing where they're doing a couple things right now. Is they're trying to.
Hey, what's up, Baltimore?
They're trying to clamp down on the violence, while they've also raised a concern, and this is less about PUBG, but they're also kind of like gambling in games. We don't really like how this is going with our population right now. So
yeah, I don't think that in general they want. There's a couple things. We talked about the gambling last week with like games that are very addictive, like Mahjong and Solitaire and things like that. Yep. They don't want the violence in there, which is what they're claiming now. And they're censoring blood out of everything, which caught up with PUBG and the violence of dying. So now every time you die in PUBG, you wave goodbye instead of, fall over dead.
Right.
So that's, great. But, it's not just China. We're not immune to it either in the U.S. Another story that came out this week was essentially loot boxes are running the risk of a bill going into Congress to stop them.
Yeah, and
telling somebody again what to do with their stuff.
I'll tell you what I found interesting about
this is not Radio Free Oregon.
No,
we're not trying to do that. We're just talking about the news, but whether it's right or wrong, it's still censorship in a way, and telling somebody what they can do.
It was in a surprising twist. I always thought in my mind the legislation was going to be brought to the floor by some representatives, maybe like some Democrats from California. That's who, to me, I kind of thought
it would have been on the coast or something like that.
Yeah. And it ended up being a rather conservative guy who brought this.
It was Missouri? I believe it's from Missouri.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's, to piggyback on the China thing, I'm not ready to say I think this will pass because of, like the lobbying that can go on and like the horse trading that'll go on, but it's at least being looked at. And I think their concern is really, it's not a full ban on loot boxes. It's basically like, we're concerned about putting these in front of kids now. Sure. And then down the line, what happens when you've been exposed to loot boxes for a decade?
Sure.
Right.
Funny enough, they didn't do that with credit cards.
Huh.
When you went to college, that's the first thing you go, right? You walk through like a gauntlet of credit card companies trying to get you. Now, yes, you're an adult, but you're far more susceptible to like wanting things because you're away from home, and the government's just fine with this. So
a lot of early,
kind of weird.
A lot of late teens, young adults are not ignorant to money, but they do all these things. If you see the teaser rate, 0%, dude, I love 0%. In 18 months, it turns to 45%.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean?
Hook up with the right Uggs and all that stuff that you want, and
for sure.
You're paying for them for 15 years.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably better for parents that they may be pushing these loot box laws, because obviously who ends up paying if your child's like under 18?
Yeah.
But, it's not really that much different. If you're going to do that, then you really got to start to take a look at everything that takes advantage of scenarios and people, right? And they should. I mean, the credit card companies are one of them. Baltimore says it's really weird seeing people wave goodbye in PUBG. So,
sure. Yeah.
I mean, after watching and playing a game for so long, I get that. Yeah, it would be really different. You hope they do pass some of the loot box laws. Well, I mean, it'd be nice to get some single player games back.
Well, hey,
I would be all right for that. I don't mind them. I don't mind loot boxes either, because I don't buy them. I just never buy them. I just will sit there and grind away or play or not play that game and go play something else. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's my opinion on this is probably I've bought digital items before. I've bought loot boxes before, whether it was Overwatch or Fortnite or God knows what it was.
Yeah.
Ingram's in Destiny. I bought only once though. Only
Yeah,
once.
yeah.
Don't hear.
But we do
what
know
other
a couple
might
people
say.
that were buying like $500 worth of pinatas.
Oh gosh, that was
Yeah.
bananas. For me, the loot boxes for adults I don't really care for, but I guess kind of what I feel like I've been seeing is developers are already getting ahead of this.
Sure.
That a lot of developers
Sure, they're planning.
have been subtly backing away from them.
Yeah.
Whether it was chess in Division or no Ingrams in Anthem, and I mean that's an EA published game, so you got to think EA was like, you will get all into this loot box thing, but even
Yeah, exactly.
so it's like they can ban them, and for the most part, I think it'll just lead to healthier games and game design.
Yep.
Where I would rather go into a store and I'm okay that there's an item for sale and I can play in the game to get it. Or if you want to charge me $4 and I don't have to roll a dice, I can probably live with. I can live with the trade of you get rid of loot boxes and make stuff directly purchasable.
And just buy it.
Right.
Yeah. That's what Baltimore, he's just saying that he doesn't like it when it intrudes on the gameplay, and that the way Overwatch does it, doesn't really affect him, right? Or doesn't really bother him that much.
Because you can play.
I think probably if Baltimore, we were to ask you, you'd probably be like, yeah, I don't like the way that the initial Mortal Kombat 11 came out with it, or even who was the big offender? EA and Star Wars Battlefront 2.
It was pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one really was egregious for sure.
It was.
I don't know if Mortal Kombat was as much. They fixed it, obviously. They went through and did some stuff. But
I think Mortal Kombat was unfortunate communication.
yeah, that happened.
Because there was a lot of you got to purchase stuff. Well, none of the characters were purchasable with money, so there was kind of some misinformation. Sure. Star Wars was outright, if you want a Darth Vader.
And you didn't want to play for an entire year.
Yeah. And I think that, and I especially think if you go on something like Star Wars, where I can play Overwatch and I can be like, I don't have the new Mercy skin yet. It's different than I logged into a game and someone spent $500 and just trashed me because they have Vader and I don't. That's not even fun.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no,
So
that kind of gameplay, it's not good. And there's a lot of back and forth probably on who's the most egregious, mudslinging. Things like that. At least we're not like those guys kind of thing. But yet everybody's a little bit susceptible to wanting to increase revenues on every game. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, the whole selling copies of Fortnite in a store where you, for a game that's free,
Sure.
that comes with V-Bucks that you roll the dice at the pinata table, that to me was...
That's a little rough.
We were a little less of that.
Yeah, a little bit less of the pinatas. Hey, talking about mudslinging, there's poop slinging too. I don't know if you heard that. This is like a quirky story from the world of rare video games and what makes a video game rare. Mm-hmm. Limited runs.
Okay.
Right? This was not a limited run game. This was a company that was making a game called Poop Slinger.
Yep.
For the PS4. And they basically ran out of money, and their creditors came and took all their stuff, and basically have boxes, crates, or these games sitting somewhere that may one day be liquidated, right, or make it back into the market. But yeah, this game is quickly approaching prices that would be considered for rare, classic Nintendo games.
What price range are we talking here?
Right now, they're going for, there were listings on eBay for thousands of dollars, but.
Okay.
I think the running price is somewhere around 200 right now.
Jeez.
Or was. Some of them were, trying to do 400 higher, but yeah. People get the whiff of hey, it's limited. Somebody's going to be interested. I don't know what kind of whiff you get from Poop Slinger, but It's probably not the game that you want to go out and bet your retirement on. I would imagine those games are going to make it into the market quick.
Yeah, it was, what does that somewhat remind me of? Because there's actually a lot of discs for that Poop Slinger game somewhere. They're just locked up in
They're
a
just
warehouse
locked
right
up,
now.
yeah, because a creditor has them stored in some warehouse right
I
now.
remember the Bananas Rush, what was it, a year ago? When they were making physical Fortnite discs.
Yes.
And that blew my mind.
Yeah, for a free game.
For a free game.
That you could now find. There were some, what we looked at it, they were up into the hundreds of dollars.
Oh, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, I don't know. That kind of died off quick. It may still be like that. I don't really track a lot of PS4 games in that way.
Right.
Especially like the value of anything. I mean, if you want valuable games, go out and look for like a Snatcher for the Sega CD. Tough one to find.
Right.
Expensive as hell. Panzer Dragoon Saga for the Saturn. That one, again, limited run, 4 discs, very expensive to produce. A lot of them, not a lot of them out there, but they're worth a lot of money. And then you start to go like, there was a bunch of runs of like PS2 games back in the early 2000s that you could have bought for like $6 one day, and then a couple years later there's like $300-$400 a piece, which is like Kuon, which is funny enough a From Software game. Rule of Rose, Haunting Ground from Capcom, and then like, what's another one? I think that's there's a lot, but those are ones that are on the top of my head, right? They're just like,
right.
Those 3 games are $1,000 if you want to buy them on eBay today. Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks Baltimore. He threw up the article from for Poop Slinger. Funny story kind of thing. Well, let's see. The only other piece of news that I've got is, hey, if you're a fan of Seattle and you're a fan of Dota 2, the international started 3 days ago. You can now get not the event, but you can get the battle pass, which gets you a bunch of nice stuff if you play Dota 2. And the summer comes to Seattle. In the summer, it's in Seattle, and it's usually like August, I think, early August.
So, so the finals used to be here. Didn't the finals get moved, but we still have an event?
We still have the international event. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
That's
Cool.
here. And that's usually at Benaroya Hall, which is downtown Seattle.
I was going to ask, are they doing it at the Key or are they doing it at the Hall?
I'm not sure. Maybe they did move it to the Key. Wasn't it there last year? It might have been.
I thought they did
it. It might have been at the Key last year.
Because they were having to hold 30,000.
Key Arena.
They were having to hold 30,000 people, right?
Oh yeah, no, it brings in the crowd. I'm kind of curious how long that'll last. I mean, with Fortnite and PUBG and Battle Royale games pulling in so much from the MOBA world, like what's the MOBA landscape for esports look like?
Yeah,
in the future, right? I mean,
definitely.
It'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. I'm wondering if like sports companies and investors are even, are they going to be? It's not like, I guess you could own a racing team, and you own like a drag team, you own a NASCAR one, you own a F1.
Yeah.
But like, do you own a basketball team as well? Do you own a football team as well? Do you own a golf pro? How? That's the difference with esports. It can grow so fast, so wide, so quickly. How do you bet your money in what sports you have your company or your team involved in? Your
at this point, it's already beyond legitimate. I mean, you've got the Dallas Mavericks owner Cuban, you've got the Patriots owner Kraft, that own teams. This is not. I don't think this is an experiment for them anymore. I think this is real.
No, I'm pretty sure that they've been like, we'll keep going. But I'm just wondering how wide you stretch yourself, how thin in terms of like wanting to be within an esports world.
Sure.
Where chess is an esport, or whatever. Smash Brothers turns into an esport,
right?
Versus like MOBA versus your Fortnite team versus all that. It gets really. It's vast and it's very expansive and it moves so quickly. It's kind of interesting to see who's going to be the real dominant people.
My expectation would be that if you can find a nice situation where you've got a game that's popular, a game that is high skill, that it's kind of a quick to learn, hard to master thing. That's what I see in a lot of the games. So it's like Overwatch.
Yep.
It's a simple game to play, but takes an extreme amount of skill at the high level. No different than League of Legends. I don't really play it that often. I generally know how to play, but up against someone that knows what they're doing, I would just get completely rinsed. Yeah.
Baltimore, and I just pulled that up. He pointed out like Blizzard already dropped Heroes of the Storm esport events. Like it's being canceled.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's a big deal. I mean, that's already one big company kind of, hey, we're taking ours out of contention because it's probably being like, you know, it's probably just such a market where Fortnite and PUBG dominate today that you gotta like move people out of there, or or MOBAs like Dota 2 and League of Legends still dominate, and it's just not something they can compete with, and it's like, hey, get the investment.
Baltimore, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Was that announcement also paired with that they're generally scaling the game down?
I think that's what it is. It's canceling Heroes of the Storm and Heroes of the Storm esports event in 2019. So the game is being canceled as well, is how the article reads. So yeah, he said yes to it.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting. It's a lot. There's a lot. Any more news? Well, you watched the Sony State of Play.
Yeah, that was... We've been making fun of this for a couple of days now. The State of Play was today, and they showed off some interesting stuff. Showed off a multiplayer game, showed off a couple smaller scale projects, and then at the end, after everybody was so disappointed on the last one that they didn't show one of the big three, they decided to we'll just casually drop Final Fantasy VII Remake and no big deal today or whatever.
Yeah, we hadn't heard anything about Final Fantasy VII officially for 2 years
at least.
Yeah, it was an E3, I think.
Because they had originally showed it off, and then they were like, we're going to finish Kingdom Hearts 3, and then we'll talk to you about this, and now that we're there. And then at the end, they really teased, come back in June, and it's like...
Oh, another round.
So...
Is Kojima involved in your team? Final Fantasy VII does look great, Baltimore. He was just saying that. And funny enough, it retains, the original Final Fantasy VII feel. When I was looking at that, I'm like, wow, this actually reminds me of Final Fantasy VII a lot.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
In the battles and things like that. Although the battles were whack, 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 like a 2D. Well, no, they were 3D, but I mean the 2D style of the way that Final Fantasy games had always been. They went 3D in Final Fantasy VII, the original, but still had that same kind of look and feel. This game being full 3D on next-gen systems looks just like the other ones. It's just in a different perspective. But the moves and things they were making reminded me of it a lot.
Definitely. I'll be curious what level of open combat you have.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting question, because, I mean, how many Final Fantasies have worked to bring that not turn-based combat, but real-time combat to fruition, and yet still hold on to things that RPG players really like.
My expectation would be the combat will be similar to 15.
I would have to.
That's sort of what, when I look at it, they've kept that style to really reel the fans back in.
Yeah, they'll always want to do that for sure.
But I can't see them getting away with a straight, only turn-based combat, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was about it, I think.
Some weeks there were, a couple weeks ago the news was kind of quiet. This week there's just tons of stuff.
So let's jump into the first game, which we haven't really showcased at all, but White Day. This is from P-Cube. It's an interesting game. I'm going to turn up the volume just a little bit so you can hear it. But if you like horror, this one kind of falls into a light horror type game. There's stress. There's factors of, not really knowing what's going on. There's kind of that whole idea of unknown. There's tension, but it's more of a gameplay mechanic style, what one did I say? Outlast. It's got a similar feel to Outlast, although it's not as intense as Outlast all the time. But the same type of tension and things like that are there, and it's definitely a different look and feel. You're basically a new student of the school,
and it's kind of that real like prep. It's not a prep school, but they wear uniforms, and it's like very. I would take it Japanese style of school. Actually, I'm not. I think it's. I want to say it's actually Korean. I want to say it's South Korean.
I'm not the world's expert in those differences.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely somewhere, probably Japanese, but it's that kind of school system. And you're a new student, and you wanted to go drop off a gift for White Day, which White Day is a special day where I think you give something. You would give something to somebody you want to have a relationship with.
Okay.
Okay. So essentially, you go to the school to kind of put this in this person's homeroom or wherever they're going to go to. And then it kind of reminds you of Bully, doesn't it? In Japan. Then you essentially take and get involved with these girls that are there looking for her home ec book, or it's in the home ec room. And essentially they're trying to get into this, and all the doors are locked. There's this janitor you start to learn about, and really you really notice the janitor because he's just given a beat down to another student with a baseball bat.
Okay.
Right, so kind of normal where I grew up.
Right.
Not necessarily normal for today.
Probably not.
And then you start to wonder what's going on, and you're hearing noises as you go through the game, and then you start to get more information from the other students that are running around for some damn reason in this school at like 10 o'clock at night. So there's like a lot of them.
Okay,
they're just popping up everywhere.
And so it's still got some features from traditional horror games. So saving's a little bit limited.
Yes.
Your health is a little bit limited. You're not just sitting there, you're constantly quick saving and health packing.
No, you can find health items.
Okay.
You can take a little bit of damage. The game is more about like finding the things, the clues, or the items that you need to get to the next area while still getting out of the way of the janitor.
Okay.
He keeps showing up.
Is he kind of the ultimate antagonist then?
He is the main.
Got it. Okay.
Right. There's other factors of the story itself, but you do get some, different ways you can interact with each character. So you can be nicer, you can be meaner, you can be snottier, or more kind, or just come across a nicer person. So you're trying to help these people and like get your stuff at the same time, right? So you need them to get to areas. They give you missions to go do, or jobs to go do, or whatever it is. It's got an interesting feel. Again, it wasn't really super scary, but there are some tense moments.
Okay.
And there's definitely the noise. It's always, with any horror game, play with headphones. Play in the dark, play with headphones.
Right.
Don't ever do it any other way because you just get disappointed if it's not going to be intense or, give you some kind of scare.
So
it's definitely cool. Baltimore.
So you're going through and you're making.
I also need some sort of cutting tool.
You're making decisions in the game. Are there like multiple endings? It's like a branching path kind of thing, or does it ultimately end up on one kind of final point?
I don't know the end of the game, but
Okay.
I do know like the way you're interacting with each person, you get a different kind of result from that.
Okay.
Right. Now, I'm not sure if that impacts the end, and obviously we don't want to give away anything in the end, but it's a good quality horror game that is representative of what you would have expected from like Resident Evil.
Okay.
Right? This is more Resident Evil being third person. Mm-hmm. This is more first person, but you've got item collection, you've got keys, you've got to get items to get to areas. You really don't have any weapons. So that's kind of interesting. And light and hiding is kind of your friend in the game to be able to get away from things. You're not fighting.
It reminds me of,
That's why I said Outlast, because you don't fight in Outlast. You run. You get out of the way. But it's not that intense. It's not constant.
It almost reminds me of Clock Tower.
It is definitely...
When I look at this, that's what it
true.
reminds.
That would be a very similar game.
And then, because what was the other one? It's not Resident Evil. It was developed at kind of the same time, in the same era. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I'm going to not know this off the top
It's
of my
not
head.
Resident Evil.
Yeah, not Resident Evil.
So there's Dino Crisis, but it's not Dino Crisis necessarily.
No, it wasn't even a Capcom game, but it was the
Silent
same.
Hill. That's what Baltimore said. It's a good one, though. Yeah, Silent Hill, too. I mean, Harry and the different characters fought, right? They had some kind of weapon, but I would go like, this is more like Clock Tower. Clock Tower was about hiding. It's about, like, keeping away from the crazy guy with the scissor man. Mm-hmm. There's other games out there similar to this, which would be... Oh, what's another one where you're... That new game that just... It's on Home Sweet Home. Similar game. That just came... Well, it's not just come out, but it's on PS4, it's on PC, it's in VR. That one would be very similar in this, too.
Okay. I'm in a table looking this up, but it's gonna drive me crazy. So after the show, I'm gonna have to go look up this other game because you and I played almost all of them too.
Really?
Yeah. It's not Resident Evil.
In the
and it's
same
not
kind
Silent
of design.
Hill. Yeah, it's the same thing though.
And we've played all of them.
A bunch of them, yeah.
Huh. I would say Clock Tower. Haunting Grounds? No, those are old. Fatal Frame?
No.
That was a good call, though, Baltimore. That's pretty close.
That is a good call.
I mean, that's kind of... Well, Fatal Frame... While the same... Oh, I know which one you're talking about. PS3 game. And PS2.
Yes.
And you hide in closets and things like that. Blood... what's the name of it? Blood Curse...
It's not Siren.
It's not Siren.
No.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Siren, Blood Curse, or whatever it is. No. Okay, well, we'll move on and think about it. But yeah, you can see there's some crazy different effects going on. Like there's this like extra worldly kind of thing happening as well in the game.
Yeah,
around this. So there are some controlling factors. So you get the idea. I mean, there's other things beyond just the janitor that are impacting you and your ability to put your Valentine's Day gift on the desk. I don't know. It's a different kind of horror game.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and it's even got the puzzle mechanics kind of like BioShock. So,
Alone in the Dark.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
Alone in the Dark.
I mean, it's much closer to Clock Tower, but it was driving me crazy that I couldn't piece Alone in the Dark in there.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Let's jump to the next game. We're going to jump over to Lifeless Planet. So kind of going in a different direction. Not horror, but adventure slash survival. It's not survival. It's more of like it's kind of like a third person walking simulator. Mm-hmm. It's what I kind of took it as when I played it. Mm-hmm. And you're essentially a astronaut leaving the planet Earth. You're going on a 15-year journey where you'll be in like cryostasis in this small like container.
So naturally, everything must go according to plan.
Exactly. I mean, you're basically on the Apollo 11 capsule, and they're sending you 15 years away. So I would have expected it to look more like the Starship Enterprise, and everybody's asleep for 15 years.
Right.
But yeah, you're landing. There's some things that go wrong, but they're telling you like they're sending you to a lush green, like bountiful planet, and it's a one-way trip.
Okay.
You know you're going one way. You're not coming back.
Okay.
But you land on this desert.
Okay, so we're supposed to go to
like
a planet
Mars type place,
full of life. It's going to be great when we get there.
Yeah, you're going to be able to set up
this.
shop. There's going to be all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
They were sending supplies and oxygen machines and all this stuff just in case, but it was being sent. It arrived a couple days ahead of you. But yeah, you get into some trouble. Lots of audio logs, lots of like little text logs that you can find in the game. So it gives you kind of the information, and there's a little path that you can see that you're kind of walking along. So it's got some interesting hooks in terms of it was built on an indie design, limited resources, kind of making this otherworldly survival game. Not survival. Again, it's not survival. It's more like otherworldly adventure game that's like a walking simulator. That's As close as I can put it.
Well, you've got some mystery in here, right? So you've got
there is a mystery because you don't know where you're going,
and it's like I'm a big fan of when
you can see the little path there. That's kind of like the only thing you know.
Okay.
Right, and you're kind of like, and it doesn't even tell you until you start going down that path. Like, oh yeah, follow the path.
I'm a big fan of when they do this in games where you've got like the logs, and it's typically information that's like it's not super important to get the basic story of what's going on.
Yes.
But if you go through and you get really into listening to the audio logs and reading the text logs, they always add this they always add this other layer where you get a slightly better understanding of where you're at, what happened before you got there, why are you doing this. So
they kind of set the tone of the adventure, right?
Yep.
And kind of lead you through it. The other, this game, we've had it for a little bit, but this one actually we have as a build that's wrapped with our DRM, which is basically gives us the ability to do free trials, things like that.
Yeah.
So I'll drop this in chat. If you want to check the game out, you can play it for 30 minutes for free, and it costs you nothing. So and I was able to get a good ways into it to kind of see at least some of the hooks that were in the game that drew you in and kept you wanting to kind of see what else you could find as you're walking through it. Yeah, we'll drop it in there, Baltimore. You can check it out, man.
Man, this looks a lot like this.
Yeah, it does. There's a little bit of
what are you trying to do here?
I'm sending out hints. Sending out hints. We've got a photo shoot coming up for the next company picnic with Kojima.
Hey. That's legitimately, I was sitting here and that's what it reminded me.
You were starting to think like...
With the dude with the bag on his back, yeah.
Well, not like that bag. That guy was carrying... In Death Stranding, the guy is carrying like 500, 700 pounds of crap on his back. I don't get that. I still have not understood how they're going to do that. And then you're walking on ladders across chasms and... I don't know. It really seems odd. Let's see. Where's that link at? What am I doing? Yeah, but this game, as you go through, there's secrets you find, and there's like this one turning point. I think we'll come up to at least the beginning of that, where you're like, uh-oh, something's different. Something's going on here. And either it's going to go one way. Either this guy's been screwed over and fooled, or like he's been screwed over and fooled, but in a different way.
Oh,
and you're like, wow, there's not a lot of options for this dude. The alpha footage. This is alpha footage. Yeah, this is probably the finished footage of what we'll get from Death Stranding. I'm still like, I'm thinking this is a Killzone 2.
We'll find out more. We'll find out more in June, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever that means.
I'm just like, maybe not. I don't know. I have all sorts of hopes, but man, that is a lot of build up for a game. That is a lot of build up. Okay, here's the link. I'll drop that in chat.
Yeah, hopefully it's not a Souls roguelike, right?
Anything that's Souls-like, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll be all right with it. I even like. I like the Surge.
Oh, I love the Surge.
Yeah, the Surge is good. So that's kind of roguelike or Souls-like.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, a lot of people didn't.
The Surge?
Yeah.
Oh, the Surge was great.
Yeah, PT. Yeah, Baltimore saying he was like, I wish we would have got that instead of Death Stranding. I'm like, PT would have been amazing.
Yeah, I don't have any.
There was that damn rumor, 2 years ago, where it was like Microsoft bought PT and they're going to do it and it's exclusive. I was like, go for it.
That's what I would. That's what I would have done.
I will take that any day of the week.
Yeah. Yep.
I think we actually we're coming up on the spot where we get a little bit further and you kind of see the first hook. I think it's right after I'm pushing this rock around. That's not very safe. I would be very cautious if I was on a planet with no oxygen. My suit would not be like pushing things. There we go. So you kind of see like there's little things that you see gleaming off in the distance that always draw you towards a specific direction.
Okay.
So you're never really lost. I almost want to say, in a way, this is going to be a weird comparison, but in a way, it's like Journey for the PS3.
Yeah. Okay.
There's always something drawing you to go that way.
I see what you're saying.
And it's linear in a sense, you know, as you start. So there's what you start to see. You're like, wow, okay, there's telephone poles here.
All right.
For some place where there's not supposed to be telephone poles and there's no trees around.
Okay.
How did that happen?
That's not an American flag.
Right. So this is where it kind of gets to be like, okay, there's more to the story and you're going to keep going. But I don't want, since Baltimore's going to play, we'll move on so you can see a little bit more. Because that's not that far into the game, honestly. That's pretty easily to get there within 30 minutes.
What are we showing off next?
The next game we're going to show off is I'm a fan of kind of like pixelated graphics and kind of funny indie games. And there's an indie company out there. Well, let's say this: Tiny Build has been doing lots of interesting games.
Yep.
Right. So does Devolver Digital, and so do all of them. But one of the games that we had gotten on the service, I had already owned. I had actually streamed a while ago. Is Punch Club, and Punch Club has a neat hook on it where it kind of brings all that together. And Tiny Build did a really good job with this, and it's actually another developer that I was just talking about today. I just bought their new game,
Right.
which is Swords and Swag. Is that what it was? We don't have it on the service. Swag and Sorcery.
Okay.
So this was a game that Tiny Build was pushing at PAX last year.
Yep.
Very big. The previous year they pushed one called Graveyard Keeper, which I like. Again, we don't have it on our service. But really good game. This was the original game that developer, Lazy Bear Games, made. And it's Punch Club. So let's take a look at Punch Club. Punch Club it's like a Rocky story. It's kind of time management. It's kind of resource management.
It's got some tycoon in there.
It's got some tycoon. It's more like a tycoon game.
Yeah, that's
yes,
when I saw it. That's kind of what I made of it.
For sure. More like a tycoon game. Yeah, there's the DLC is the Dark Fist. You're right, Baltimore. And you can play this on your mobile phone. Yep, it's available there.
Oh, cool.
So it's a really good game. Very fun. We've got it on the service. It's Steam Key. So you would go over to Steam to activate it. But, and I can actually put that in for anybody else because I know Baltimore already plays it. It's Punch Club has... It's just got a unique hook on it. There's a lot of funny things in there. There's like, you're kind of like Rocky. There's the A-Team van sitting in the corner there.
Okay.
Right? It's definitely got like a lot of like throwbacks to the 80s and 90s. So a little bit of throwback to other decades.
Is the black box around it intentional?
It is. Well, that's in a 4K display.
Okay.
You know, remember I recorded on a 4K and I brought it down.
Right.
The poster there, I think, is the Eraser. You ever remember that with Sylvester Stallone?
Totally.
You've got to manage your sleep. Your different needs are like happiness, food or hunger, your overall like energy level, and I believe the heart is your health. I believe that's how it is. So you got to kind of manage each of those, but you're basically trying to become a fighter. And you do a little bit of MMA fighting, and here you see kind of the fight happening. Now, I'm not pressing buttons. I just set kind of the whole thing up. Like, those 3 moves that I have in the upper left corner are the only moves my guy's going to use.
Okay.
The 5 in that guy's corner, the competitor on the right side, is the only moves he's going to use. So you kind of use those moves to go back and forth, and you can change them out around each round.
Okay. Is this something where over time you train, so you learn new moves or new styles?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have a tree, and you can go to the gym, and you can get more different fighting techniques, things like that. It's very much like a Sims game.
See, because now there's no
Sim game.
Now there's no black box around it.
Yeah, so it bounces around a little bit.
Huh.
from like the different screens, and probably like the way they developed it. Right, some things scale, some things don't.
Cool.
On here, a lot of it's hand drawn or created through pixels. So yeah, they've only created it for one size. The other one it scales because they can just make the background brown.
Cool
Thing, right?
Yeah.
That's more than likely why that is. But you can even speed up the fighting. You get hurt. You have other fights that's going on. It looks normal on your device when you play it, though. Yeah, so if you're on phone or you're on I think it's 19... If you're on a 1080p, I think it doesn't have the backgrounds. Their assets don't scale to 4K. That's the
Okay.
I think that's what it is. Or they just didn't. I think they'll scale up to like 1440p. Maybe that's what it is. There's underground fighting. There's fighting outside of a bar. There's a guy named Tyler that hangs out there that like sets these fights up for you.
Who's like never been in a movie about
Right, exactly. Never was anything to do with Fight Club.
Very subtle.
There's Jay and Silent Bob lookalikes that stand out in front of the mini mart that you go buy food at. So there's a lot of like these callbacks to like 80s, 90s.
Right.
Maybe early 2000s.
I see what you're saying.
I got injured there. So my guy, he's up in the right-hand corner.
You got some action movies from the time.
Yeah.
You got the boxing movie from the time. Okay.
Yeah, and you can see kind of you have like an overmap of the city, and basically you decide where you want to go. So if you look closely, there's Jay and Silent Bob standing outside. They're just kind of hanging out. You buy your meats and all that stuff to store at your house, so you have your food. You go to work when you're not fighting, so you can build up money, because you don't make a lot of money unless you win.
What kind of jobs do you do in the game?
I'm doing a construction job now. I forget if there's other jobs.
Okay.
I think you can get another job at like a diner, maybe serving food. And maybe there's one more job. I forget. A pizza delivery. That's it. Thank you, Baltimore. So right there you can see the construction. You actually make a lot of money doing that, like $50 $150 a day, I think, is what you can make.
Okay.
If you have full stats going in, full like everything's good, right? Your health and all that stuff, your energy and everything. So, kind of a unique game. Very interesting to play. You can do multiple things. There's always something to do, and you're managing it like a tycoon game. Very similar. Yeah. So it was just one that I like the Lazy Bear games. I think that those guys have done a great job, and the one that I'm playing now, I'm even more addicted to. So I have it running. The nice thing is you can run it in windowed mode.
Okay.
At a very nice resolution, small resolution, and be able to do all your work while that's running, because the game plays itself.
I saw it on your monitor next to mine.
I was just letting it run.
Yeah.
So those games, if you don't know what those types of games are, they're a side an offshoot of casual games. Mm-hmm. They're called hyper casual games.
Right.
And they're where like all you have to do is a couple things, and then you can let the game run on its own. The best example I can give of this that I know of is a game called Soda Pop Dungeon.
Yep.
Soda Pop Dungeon, you're basically like, you're not the dungeon fighter, you're not the one going in to attack the things in the dungeon, you're the guy that sets up the deal. And all you do is manage it, you send them off for 20 minutes, they go fight, they come back, and you get like a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
So, it's just different. Oh, and Punch Club 2 is coming out later this year. That's awesome.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Baltimore's even up on it before us.
I'll look forward to bringing some more of their stuff in.
Yeah, I like the Tank stuff. We have some of their games. We have like No Time to Explain. We've got a couple other ones, but we haven't gotten their entire catalog, and I hope that happens. I hope that they want to move forward and we get some more of their games in, because they do have some good stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's not much. I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot in the game, but definitely check it out. And there's a lot there. So we did do Mortal Kombat 11 stream.
We played it.
We didn't really look that far into it,
but we got some requests.
Yeah,
and
we did. We got some requests, so we wanted to do just a little bit more. So here's a little bit more of the story of Mortal Kombat 11, which we launched on launch day, which was 2 weeks ago now. A little bit less than 2 weeks ago.
It was 2.
Yeah.
Dude, these weeks they're blurring.
Or was it last Monday? No, it wasn't last Monday.
It wasn't
Tuesday.
last week. It had to.
Wasn't last
It had to have been at least a week plus ago.
Yeah, I think it was a week plus ago. So we ended up doing that like the day it launched. We did about an hour stream, I think it was. Just kind of looking through the game and all the settings and kind of the PC settings and everything.
Did an intro on the story.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was playing this last night. I hooked everything up. I had my the Mortal Kombat controllers running.
Yeah.
So I was playing that with it. So it played great. I mean, you get to see a little bit more. This is kind of like the Sonya. This is not Sonya Blade. This is the daughter, Casey Cage,
daughter of Sonya. And
yes.
Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage.
Yeah, so this is her kind of just finishing off an area. So we'll kind of like do a transition. There's a little bit of sad things. So spoiler alert if you don't want to know what happens to Mortal Kombat characters.
It's kind of funny.
It's Mortal Kombat for the...
I've been out of the loop on the story of Mortal Kombat for a bunch of releases.
Yes.
And we had played it, and I was like, wait, hold on, dude. There's fantasy, and there's time traveling, and some characters are bad, and some characters are good, and there's clones, and people come back from the dead. So I went home that night, and the story is absolutely wicked in this game.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy. Most of their Mortal Kombat series stories after like 9 do get crazy.
Yeah.
Like 10 was crazy, 11's even more crazy. Yeah, it just kind of goes along.
And you know, it's...
Yes, Baltimore. We do... That was the first one where we truly did a live stream of the game, where we just did like a Let's Play and we were sitting here talking about the game on day of launch. I've done like a Frostpunk one on here. Just playing the game for, you know, some testing that we were doing. But yes, we will start doing some games as they come out, bigger Let's Plays. Brooks and I, you know, we like Mortal Kombat and fighting games. So, what was it? Episode 3 of the Weekly Tangent. We brought the combat controllers
we did
in.
10, I think we played.
We did 9.
We did 9.
We did 9. So we played 9 with the full like fighting sticks, like with the crooked cross control and all that, which was really fun. So yeah, we do some for sure. But sorry, you were saying.
Oh, I was just gonna note
how crazy it is.
Last I had played, you know, I was aware of there was Mortal Kombat, and there was a realm singular.
Yes.
And then by the time you get to game 2 and 3, you get introduced to these other realms. By the time you get to this game, there were so many
realms
things.
Are like not even a big deal anymore.
Oh yeah. That's like, oh, you rule a realm. Okay, that's cute or whatever.
Yeah, congratulations.
And it's kind of, you know, I had wondered. I was like, you'd been saying like there's a story in Mortal Kombat, and I was like, okay, like that totally doesn't add up to me, because back when I played the 1, 2, 3 Ultimate 3, it was Super Nintendo, so there wasn't. The story was you were playing with your friends.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But this is like, they've basically turned it into this borderline blockbuster where you get all the characters back for, you know, another round, and crazy things are just happening.
Yes. So. Yeah. Oh, man, it got really... 10 was the one that really kind of set things into like this high production value, like craziness that they were going through, and like everybody's got a story, and the campaign is like 10 plus hours.
Right.
I think it took me roughly 10 hours to get through it. I'm not sure how long this campaign is. I haven't gotten all the way through it yet, but I would imagine it's going to be within a similar length, right? Somewhere in there. And yeah, they outline every character. You get a chance to see everybody, and it's a lot of game to play. For sure.
I particularly
if you like fighting games, right? Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing you've got to do is really enjoy the Mortal Kombat style. I was telling Brooks, I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan. Not great at the game, but I've been since like the late 90s or early 90s when 93 was when Mortal Kombat came out, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Used to go to the arcade to play that. That's when I had graduated high school, so I would go in and play that. Loved the game. Loved all the other versions. And now you can go to like Walmart. If you've ever heard of the 1-Up arcade machines,
right?
Like they're the ones you build yourself, and they're like 3/4 size, like mini arcade cabinets. They're 4 feet tall or so. They have the Mortal Kombat one for $2.99. That just came out. It's like Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and Ultimate 3.
They're much more reasonably priced than going out and buying the full cab.
Yeah.
Right? You can spend a couple $100 and get one.
You can spend $300 plus tax and walk away with one that like has room for 2 people to be able to play on controllers that you would mimic the cab. The cabs look just like the actual arcade cabinets.
Yeah, definitely.
You got 3 games on there. Maybe it's a little bit pricey. You could probably just go and emulate them or
sure.
Hell, I gave what was it, Baltimore? I gave you the key 2
Kombat
weeks ago
or something
for it, and that's the exact same collection. But they are the arcade ROMs. It sounds great, looks really nice, and for $2.99 you can get one where it costs you about $1,500 to buy a used cabinet, right? For like one of the Mortal Kombat series. So I'm really interested in that because I do like Mortal Kombat. I've played them all. Not all of them I've loved. There's been some crappy offshoots. They know that. Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero on the 64 was just ridiculous.
The 64 where you did Sub-Zero and then you had the 3D were just not Mortal Kombat's best time. Yeah.
Yeah. But now they've redeemed themselves and like they are just blowing it out with these.
Oh, yeah. I particularly like the villain in this game, Kronika, that they introduced.
Yeah.
It's a fun way.
The time, yeah.
It's a fun way to be like, how do you have a bunch of already super villains, and then what do you do from there? What's the super villain look like?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course. So it's kind of funny, like old Johnny Cage meets younger Johnny Cage.
Right.
And there's some funny instances of that, like here, right after that part. So then you see characters coming back, right? In 10, these guys were dead.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Right? So there's all sorts of stuff going on. But it's good to see all the characters playable. You know, you're getting good story again. I mean, the story... It's no harder to follow than the Avengers Endgame story.
I was just gonna.
There's nothing different about it.
I was just gonna say
they did a great job.
It reminds me of the ensemble superhero movies that have become quite popular in the last few years.
Ed Boon, 30 years doing this.
Oh yeah,
well, close to 30 years. He knows what he's doing.
I mean, he'd been doing it so well that doesn't he run the other game too? Because he also doesn't NetherRealm also do Injustice and Injustice 2?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yep.
So, which is
DC, but yeah.
Which is based. I mean, it's not dissimilar from it, kind of like Mortal Kombat without the blood. I mean, just in how the game plays, right? So.
Have you ever played the mobile versions, Baltimore, of Injustice or Mortal Kombat? Dude, they are amazing. I mean, they're just like tap, 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 but they look really good. I mean, they do a fantastic job across the board. So, I mean, it just extends the universe or the franchise into like players' hands at different levels, right? You know,
well, you can
it's
also
not meant to be like challenging in a way of like learn skill and know every combo and all of that.
I love that you can play it, earn stuff, and send it back to the main game.
Yeah. Those we were always a big fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one that I remember we talk about a lot is Dying Light. Yeah, so that one we really ran the racket on because you could just sit there and like let it capture tons of items and then send
you were
them back.
getting legit
50
gear.
items and
you were getting
was it 50 in one shot or 10? Might have been 10. But you had tons of stuff.
I feel like it was. I feel like you're right. I think it might have been more than 10.
It was something like you built like a special package of 10 items to send into the main game. But you had way more items, so you could just sit there and build those things. It might have only been 10, but
we would play on our phones at lunch and then get home and be like, "Oh, look at that!
Yeah,
purples and oranges. I'm down."
Yeah, it's nice. Baltimore's saying you can do a lot of stuff, unlock stuff, playing it, and then you get it in the game, which is cool.
I secretly I love that feature, and I can't wait to see. We've talked about this before. What the next GTA best have that at this point?
I would think so.
Because when the last one didn't, because like Red Dead came out and had that just absolutely stunning companion app.
Yes.
That you didn't even have to use the menu system. On the tablet.
Yeah, you could put it in like picture mode, so there was nothing on the screen, and you could just run the tablet and see what you needed. Yeah, that's awesome.
And I really want to see some devs kind of do some stuff where it's like, when you're away from the main machine, let's get you still interested in sending stuff back, be it items or gear, characters or money or something.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Well, that's Mortal Kombat. Do you want to jump in and do a few minutes of Risk of Rain?
You gonna play some Risk of Rain here?
Yeah, let's play some Risk of Rain. So let's get this set up here. We've got.
So we're gonna
game. I'm gonna try the controller. Make it easier sitting here.
You're gonna be that one.
Oh, this one. I didn't even see it.
So this is, you can play this single player, or you can play with up to 4.
Yep.
We're playing it single player tonight.
Yeah, because you have to have. It's online co-op.
It's not local co-op.
It's not local.
So,
Which is okay. I mean, the game is playing well itself, so I'm good with it not having it. Have you seen this yet, Baltimore? I'm sure you've seen it, but I didn't know if you'd looked into it. I remember playing the original Risk of Rain. I was telling Brooks. I mean, it's it's a great game. It was done. Yeah, I hadn't seen it in depth either. I haven't really seen a lot. They've had 1 million sales already of this game.
wow.
Yeah, pretty good. I like the difficulty. It's like I want to be the green blob, so nobody can say I'm doing anything crazy here. You have your different abilities that you can go in, or skills. You have kind of your overview of what your character is, and different things that they can do. And then you're going to try to search for stuff. You're going to try to search for different weapons, things like that. The first one was 2D, yes. And it was kind of the same premises. You landed and you tried to get away. You had to tackle lots of enemies at once. And the enemies build up as the longer you're in the world.
Okay.
That's the one thing. So let's get out of here. So you're running and gunning, but you're basically trying to take them down. You get more and more enemies as you stay in the world.
Okay, so what happens when you outright die?
You just go back into that. I guess it's not like not an area where you're alive, but you just start over with a new character.
How much
But
of
you're retaining things that you collect.
Okay, so you still retain things.
Yeah.
So you can still kind of build up. Is it your base? Is it your weapon set? What's the thing that what aspects
Weapon
are you
set,
retaining?
skills. Skills is a big one,
Okay.
right? You want the skills. Oh, jeez, we're starting to get like a little bit more. There we go.
We started outright. This is a brand new game.
Yeah, I haven't played much of the controller, so I'm still trying to get like all the controller settings down. I was playing with the keyboard before we even started earlier, which keyboard controls are really nice. I just wanted to play controller because it's easier when we're streaming to kind of have laptops and everything in front of us. But they're a very difficult game. I mean, it's definitely something that makes you pay for your mistakes. Who was the one guy on Twitch that streamed a lot of Risk of Rain? He was really good at it too. He's from the Seattle area. Oh man, it's been a long time since I watched him. Okay, it's probably the shorter one. There it is. That's your power attack kind of thing. He wore a top hat, and his sign off was "Keep It Dapper" or something like that, and he likes pinball games. Man versus game, yes, he liked it, but this guy, I cannot remember. He had 2 ferrets. He was a chef before he actually got into doing Twitch. He became really, decently famous on Twitch. Maybe not like, who am I thinking of? Maybe not Ninja famous, but still, the guys, he was doing well. I cannot remember his name.
Not Bear Taffy?
No, not Bear Taffy. I know him. Well, I don't know him, but I know of him. I've seen him stream. Maybe this guy doesn't even stream anymore. I don't know. He was doing pretty good, but he was a chef, and he would have cooking streams and all sorts of stuff like that. But anyhow, he was the first person I saw playing a lot of Risk of Rain.
Okay.
And this was back in like 93, 94, or sorry, 2013, 2014. Twitch wasn't even around. 93, 94. Hell, I don't even think Justin TV was born in 93 or 94. He probably was, but yeah, the game was extremely difficult in terms of like you got one run in and you would do another run, and it was like that. It's like based on runs, how far you get. But you'll start to see like tons of enemies. They're not giving me breaks here. Like they just keep throwing them at me, right? I can run a little bit. I can get away. I wanted to see what was in this thing, but I kept hitting the wrong button. It almost looked like it was just another... It is. It's just another pod. That was the pod I was probably starting from. So I'm going to try heading over here. There's areas that you can buy stuff from. Because you see I'm collecting money when I kill things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an area where I can get better weapons, or I can get... I don't think you unlock skills. I'm not sure if you unlock those yet the same way or not. Ah, that's going to bother me that I can't remember this guy's name.
I tried to pull it up.
It's probably on my Twitch account that I still follow him, but it's been such a long time since I have been on Twitch to stream that I usually just catch people like streaming that I know. There we go. We'll take that. Fire a black hole in to draw enemies out. Okay. Let's try that. Okay, there we go. It's drawing them into this. Oh wow, it's drawing everybody into one area. See that? So that's like another kind of skill that I have that I can like pull them into an area. It's not a skill, but oh jeez, the candle went all wacky. My controller went out. It's screwed up. I don't know what happened.
What happened?
The controller like lost connection.
Oh no.
We're playing with wireless controllers. They killed me.
Brutal.
Is it Burke Black? No, I don't think so. My phone's dead, or I would look it up. But, yeah, I lost there. So now, essentially, we'll go back to the main area. So let's go resume. Continue.
Hagenrock?
No.
No. Okay.
Nope, I will remember and I'll let you guys know. Yeah, he used to play a lot of it. So that was on easy. Let's try normal difficulty. And I don't think we have any artifacts. No, we don't. And those are modifiers. But, and then you can unlock different characters as you go. I'm not sure what the wrench is. Under construction. Oh, okay. So it's still in early access as well. So let's get out of here.
So when didn't they? So was it last week they opened up the early access on this?
This game launched. When did this launch? It wasn't that long ago. So this launched 2 weeks, March 28th.
Okay.
So actually more than a month ago.
Okay.
And I think when they first launched it, they were doing a deal. Now we just put it up 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
When they first launched, I think they were doing a deal for a week exclusive where if you bought one copy, you got a copy to give to your buddy. So it was actually a really good deal.
I remember you talking about
my controller, again, is losing connection. I'm going to have to play with the mouse. For whatever reason, our controllers are dropping the wireless signal right now. So let me grab mouse and keyboard here.
Should be a little more space.
To move this up a little bit, and we should be all right. I just need to look for chat real fast. Lethal Frag. Good job, Baltimore. You got it. Lethal Frag was the guy that I watched play Risk of Rain nightly.
Okay.
He got really, really good at it. He also played. The one where you're on a spaceship and you are manning it, and you go in and you have to like manage each little area of the spaceship, like the guns, the engine. You have to keep things running. Don't get me started on trying to remember stuff, but he was really great at these games. And yeah, I don't know if he even streams anymore. FTL, there you go, faster than light. So yeah, he was good. He had 2 ferrets. We have 2 ferrets, so that's why I think I remember him the most.
Is the world procedurally generated in this then?
I believe it is.
I take it. Okay.
I believe that's how Risk of Rain stages were. I called them stages because they were 2D, but. So let's see. I'm going to actually put this into full screen so you guys can see that. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, mouse and keyboard. Like I said, I think mouse and keyboard is the way to play because it actually plays really smooth and it feels much better than playing with controller. Funny enough, well, I mean, it feels better because it doesn't lose connection for whatever reason. That's our PC. It has nothing to do with their game, I can tell you that. RPC does that on this game no matter what. Do I have to shoot this thing, or is it's in the ground? I can't get it. So you have like a weapon for your right button too, which is a little bit bigger one shot, but then it has to recharge. And then you've got this, you know, that combo move I was showing you. Or power move. Let's see, we're gonna take this guy out.
So you've got...
And you can see I'm generating my health back too.
So you've got character upgrading and various skills.
Yep.
Various weapons you can get. Is there any, like, building?
No.
No.
That is not this type of game. Yep. I know, it almost looks kind of like it would, but...
I don't know. I'm not trying... This is not the comparison I'm trying to make, but that dude that you play as certainly reminds me of the little guy you run around with in No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
And they're both in space, and they've both got this bright color palette to them, and I'm sitting here, and I want... You know, that's just sort of what it reminds me of. Sorry about that.
No, I get what you're saying. Grab these. I'm going to try to find the weapon upgrade. Is that it? I think that might be the machine. No, that's not it. They look kind of like that, except they got 3 sides to them.
Is that a stuffed animal on your back?
Now it looks like there is
teddy bear?
something like that, yeah. I don't know what that is. Maybe I found it? It wasn't there when I started. I'm going to go after these guys up here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. I'm trying to find the upgrade station. Oh! Oh! No. Got stuck there. Where is this upgrade station? Okay, I'll take that. I'm going to run back this way a little bit. Kind of show a little bit more of the game.
So what does a war banner give you? Is that like a skill point?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Oh, I see the little things. I've collected like looks like a deer or something.
Yeah,
A bear?
that's the war banner that you just got. Yeah.
I see what you're talking about now. Oh, I remember that stuff in the original game. What was that? That was I think they could be turned into skills. Wow, it's been a while since I played the original one. But I do remember you would have like a row of those on the screen. Greater strength when leveling up. There we go. And I just dropped one. I saw that, so I dropped the bear. Oh, I stored them. That's what I'm doing. I think I'm putting them into storage. Ooh, now we're getting a little busy. I'm going to fall off the edge if I run backwards. I'll try to get away. Yeah, you start to get like an entire fort of people running after you. And the levels aren't massive that you can get around. I mean, they're big, but it's not like it's endless, right? Like you're in a world where it's open world. It's definitely a constrained area. Oop. Looking though for the upgrade station.
What's the timer in the top right corner of the screen?
That is how long you've been alive, I think.
Okay.
Or how long you... Yeah. How long you've been alive, I believe. Okay, red whip. Move fast out of combat. I don't... Is that the... Nope, still got that. Okay, I'm not going that way. Banner drops when you level, giving you a buff. Gotcha.
Okay.
Oh, there's the station. So
Is that buff permanent?
it's for this level.
Okay. And for when you say this level, you mean
This run. Sorry.
this your character's life, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
We're getting a little bit more.
Do you ever get melee weapons, or is it all guns?
As far as I've seen, it's only guns. Take that. I grabbed. Run. Oh man, they're coming. There's a lot. There's a lot. you've really got to manage the ads.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? If you really want to get further, like right now I've got just an armada after me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to go back up to this thing. Our machine's saying high CPU usage. I think it'll hold tight though. It's not the machine we're playing on, it's the machine that's streaming, funny enough. Okay, you get out of here. I don't know what you're sitting around doing. Take that. What's that saying? Use 3D printer, one item. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, you can trade stuff in to then get more of a certain thing if you want.
You got some kind of recharging shield, it looks like?
Yeah. I don't know where all the enemies are. They must be stuck in that, like, little... Oh! They froze me. Here they come. They were
right when they showed up, right?
Yeah, they were stuck in this little area that I had kind of...
Funneled
them through there. There's going to be tons behind me. I know that, too. Those blue guys, man, they are rough. They don't go down quick. And I don't know if there used to be a way to get off the planet. You had to survive so long, I thought. So I don't know, maybe that's what the counter also is doing in this one as well. Oh, look where we're going. Try some of the special attacks. Yeah, I should give that. Let's see, is there anything up here that we can... What is this? Oh, the big guy's showing up now, okay. I wish I had that, that black hole generator. That was pretty good. Starting to come over the hill.
Run.
Oh man, there's not like... I did a horrible job at managing everything.
That roll's kind of quick though. You get a little boost on that.
Yeah, you get a little bit. There is a run, I thought, with control, but it doesn't work. So I don't know, maybe if you have to unlock that? I'm gonna try to funnel everybody through this little area again. I can take a little bit of a hit every once in a while because it's not too bad, but... Oh,
once you start backing into enemies, you really, you know...
Yeah. Oh, and they're trying to freeze me. Oh, now we got a new type. That's another thing about it is, like, new enemies with different powers will show up as you're playing. Oh, I wish I had some other... I don't... Whoa. Don't really have.
Wouldn't be a roguelike without enemy kiting. That's for sure.
This is neat.
Was that an item?
Yeah, I can fly for a period of time, it looks like. Hold on to my... Oh. Maybe it has to recharge again. It looks like it. It's when I pressed Q, that's when I was able to fly.
Really just pushing through this mob.
Oh, man. Oh! What was that? 2,800. That was horrible. Time alive. I wonder how long you have to stay alive. Good first run. Yeah, not too bad, right?
I was trying to figure out where you spend your currency and whatnot, because I saw a couple times where you had a pod pulled up.
Yeah.
And you can go buy something, but is that
That's
the
you can
extent
keep
of it?
going back around to that. I think
Okay.
it opens up or refreshes. There's no set time. Okay, that's why I was wondering if there was a set time or not. I'm gonna give it a run.
Sure.
Brooks can take a little bit of the control. Oh, hey, sorry. Was it Bitchy Butcher? Hey, sorry, didn't see you on the other side. We were playing, and I wasn't looking at chat the whole time. No, who I do know who you're talking about. No, not the cynical Brit. I do know he ended up passing away. We were talking about Lethal Frag on Twitch. He played a lot of this. He played a lot of the original Risk of Rain, which he still, I believe he still streams. It seems like it, but I'm not sure. It's been a while. And I wasn't ignoring the YouTube chat either, sorry. It was just playing it and then trying to read it, and Brooks didn't have chat up on his side to be able to see it. Yeah, I remember he passed, Cynical Brit passed away last year, was it?
I believe so.
I believe it was, yeah, he was pretty funny. He was good, let's say that, at what he did. Total Biscuit, yes. The longer you play, the harder you get. Yeah, that's what I remember from the original one. So I take it it's the exact same from this. So Brooks has got a totally different arena. That's what I would call this. Is like an arena.
Okay.
Or level. Or
I was trying to understand if there's a concept of levels, or if it's the story, or it's the gameplay loop, or what really
it's the
keeps you
buffs
invested.
and that, the skills and all that you acquire that you can change out, and then obviously the runs that you do. You know, you learn to get better. You know what works best for you, and what you can get away with. Oh, did you fall all the way? Okay.
That was intentional, right?
Yep.
So the shrine, you can bank your money at the shrine.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and then we haven't even gotten. It'll take a bit to get to the bosses, I would imagine. Yeah, but these, you know, there's. I remember people playing the original one, and I was always impressed with their skills. Because it gets pretty hectic, and I would imagine that because they've gotten such a good review and everything for this, and they've gotten, they came out and they knew they had to have something really solid. I would imagine this game is just as good. But, you know, it's definitely going to take some time to play it. We only got it a couple weeks ago. I don't. You mean the big the big blocked robot there with the red eye? I don't think he's the boss, because we've played, and I think he's just another level of the different.
Just a more difficult enemy.
Enemy, yeah, another level of like difficulty as the enemies start to spike up. I don't think we've seen a boss yet. Even when I played, I haven't seen one. I haven't lived that long. It controls well, though, on mouse and keyboard. It actually played better than on controller. Although, you know, like I said, for what we're doing here, controller works better, but the precision of the mouse is way nicer.
Yeah, you know, for a long time when I played a lot of heavy PC and a lot of heavy MMO, I would always, when I'd go back to play console, I'd be like, oh, this is weird. Even when I'd be playing something like an FPS. And I've so gotten used to, like, you know, we kind of sit at a desk in front of a mouse and keyboard. So when I get home, over the last few years, I really play much more on controller. So I can kind of, like, sit back on the chair. Mouse and keyboard is like, it's time when it's time to get serious.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, when you're actually trying to get into a game. Now, have you ever, knowing how long you played Destiny? For 5 years, essentially. And played it on PS4. Did you ever try the PC version of Destiny?
Oh, I have it. I own
Oh,
it.
you do? What'd you think of it?
Oh, the game runs at like 60 FPS. It's the de facto way to play as far as I'm concerned.
How about mouse and keyboard, though, in comparison, since you played so long?
And that's what I'm saying, is that, to me, playing it on PC with the mouse and the keyboard, it plays really well. It runs spectacularly. But the thing about that game that brings me back is when we play with our friends.
Oops, sorry, folks.
flipping it over this way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
where the people play is where you're going to enjoy it the most. You play on you play Destiny with controller on PC. Baltimore. Okay. Huh.
You active?
I don't know if he is or not. I mean, he's yeah, no, I remember him saying he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn Risk of Rain, but we can have a conversation about that Baltimore another time.
Yeah, Brooks probably. I mean, out of some of the people that I knew on Twitch, I mean, there were some that were playing a lot. I don't know if I knew anybody except for maybe our buddy Aaron that plays it more.
Sure.
I mean, Aaron definitely for the past few years had played it. For the past couple, one or two, has played it more. But you raid weekly, Baltimore. Okay.
Very cool.
So yeah, you're definitely still up on it then.
Work's gotten pretty busy in the last couple of years, so I've played a little bit less. But yeah, we used to. Every Tuesday on Reset, we were there. Didn't matter what it was.
The new raid comes on June 4th, is what he's saying.
Opulence, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, okay, very cool. I gave up my Destiny boots a while ago. Hey, I used to play Destiny and beat the raid while walking on a treadmill on stream, so I had my own specialty skills in Destiny, but never to the level of like the two of you.
It's a fun game. I don't, I probably won't go back and play it to the level that I have in the past, which is more a lot of different games out, and we've been playing a lot of different stuff. But it's I wish the game well.
Yeah,
I really want.
No, I mean the game is, whatever they end up doing with 2. I mean, I think that a lot of the changes they made, from what you've told me and what I've seen, have been for the positive of the game itself, the franchise. So. I don't think I have to worry too much about that. The one that I bought that I haven't played really any of that you've actually played is Division 2.
Yeah.
I like the game. It's better than Division 1.
It's
certainly,
just
it's kind of more of the same of Division, but not a lot of differences, but still fun. Much better, in my mind in terms of the shooting. The gameplay itself.
I really like, conceptually, games as a service borrow very heavily from 2000s MMOs, right?
Yeah.
Where you get the time investment with it. I just, we've talked about this. It's so hard to, like, the time commitment on those games is...
Oh, it's, a pit.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And especially, just in the last couple years, I've been playing so many other games... that it's been hard. It's becoming harder to really sink time into any just one, whether that's Division 2 or Destiny or Anthem. And I won't be surprised with we've played a tremendous amount of Borderlands 3 in our years, and we'll get that. But do I think we're going to play 300 hours of Borderlands 3? Probably not.
Yeah, no, I don't see playing that much of Borderlands 3. I don't know. I mean. The only game I've really ever plugged that much time into has been like an Elder Scrolls game.
Right.
I do see probably doing 100. I could see that easily because I probably plugged 100 into
Monster Hunter.
Probably plugged 100 into Borderlands 2.
You must be getting there on Frostpunk.
It's probably 70 or 80 hours.
Okay, getting there.
100 is when I really am like, okay, this game has been good. I'm going, and this is, I kind of say it's a dilemma for us specifically because we have to play a ton of games and we have to get through a ton of games and we're not playing them to stream.
Right.
We're playing them in stints to be able to either record footage or to get an idea what the game is or to be able to, deploy a game and test it and all that. So it's not necessarily we play for fun when we get a lot of hours. But if you see 100 hours on a game from us, that means it's like we're still playing 6 or so games around that game, but we're plugging 100 hours into the game at the same time. So it's a little bit different anymore for us, I think, on that side.
I agree.
It really, like, a game is, in my mind, damn good if I put 100 hours into it.
Oh, yeah.
Over any period of, like, a month or so. Or a couple months. So the last thing I'm going to do here is drop a link to Risk of Rain 2 in the chat. So we're
We've got Risk of Rain for like $15.99. It's not as good as the deal when it first launched. It was, like I said,
Where you got 2.
$19.99 for 2, I think is what it was, which was awesome. But, it's good. It's a fun game. I can see it becoming a game that I'll try over and over again on Saturdays. Mm-hmm. You know, it'll be in the rotation to get used to it. But I don't know if I see the same draw as I did with the original one.
Okay.
Right? A little bit different. And it's maybe the different perspective, too. But I think that's going to probably do it for us for this week.
All right.
I had a good time.
Yeah.
I liked the games. Definitely Mortal Kombat was fun this week, so I recorded those ones. And I don't know, getting more time into Mortal Kombat. I'll never get 100 hours probably into them, but I'll probably get easily through the story, play 20, 30 hours beyond that. And for a fighting game, for me, that's a lot.
Right.
I really do like the Mortal Kombat series now, and I've always loved it. But I think recapping this week, Mortal Kombat was probably my favorite game still to play out of the ones we were showing. But that's not to say that Punch Club is any less, because I put a ton of time into that. I don't even know how much I put.
I've been really happy, especially. I mean, this is the first time I've said this, whether on stream or not. I've been really happy with just the quality of games we've been getting, the quality of games we've been launching, bringing to the front page, putting on the show.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I have too, and I mean it's there's some effort put in to get like these deals where partners will allow us to bring games onto the service, things like that. So it's
I mean, some of these projects are multiple years, right? So,
oh yeah. No, we've got one. Funny enough, the ink isn't dry yet, as they would say, but we've got a big one probably launching. We'll start launching their games next week.
I think that's our
my expectation is we'll have that, and that'll be like 40 or 50 games from a bigger indie publisher that we've been we've worked with for a long time, but we didn't have their entire catalog. So now they're going to have it, and every game will have a 30-minute free trial on it at least, and other cool things that we can do with it. If anybody out there has any idea, if you want, one of the things I'd like to find out from people that watch and viewers and things like that is if you like to keep your collection on Steam.
Yep.
Rather than buy games from another company, like GOG or something like that. Because ours, you can buy the game on us and play it on our platform, and we have all sorts of stuff. But we can also get the Steam games.
Yep.
So if you like the Steam keys, I can always go back to partners and say, hey, we want your builds because we like to offer free trials and things like that on it, where no other company really does that. But then we can also have the Steam keys as an option as well to buy. So
it certainly goes both ways, where some people are like, we like to have the bricks, we like the trials, and some people are like, we like the discount, but I want it in my preferred catalog.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So we try to do that, and Steam is the big one right now. We're working to see about
got a couple other
there's
ideas
an option
out there
for us to be able to do like Bethesda keys, or potentially even Epic keys or something like that. We haven't done that yet. Steam has been the alternative to like getting it on WildTangent. So there might be even a benefit there. We're still looking at the models of like, you buy it, you play the game for free on WildTangent, you give it a 30-minute trial, but then you buy the Steam key. That's quite possible. You can do that, right? We usually try to have both games if we can. More than likely, we'll have the Steam version, but if we can, we try to bring the other version on direct as well. So we have the build, we wrap it with our tech, and then we can offer like cool different things, like being able to rent a game, being able to try a game, things like that. So
yeah, definitely.
Before. So we'll see. But yeah, hopefully next week we'll have a bigger announcement for this partner, which they've got the paperwork. They had actually signed once, but we were acquired in between. So, so that's a little bit of inside business that we've been dealing with. We got acquired about a month ago, so it was kind of funny. And we had the paperwork, and the partner had signed, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on? We're ready to give you the games." And we're like, "Hold on."
You keep telling us to hold on.
We've got to give you new paperwork because it's going to be a totally still Wild Tangent, but under a company called Gamigo.
Right.
So, But yeah, that's about it. Appreciate everybody being here. The Bitchy Butcher was here. Thank you for stopping in on the YouTube side. And for anybody watching on WildTangent.com, we had actually thrown up, this is the first cast where you could actually see and watch the cast on YouTube, on the YouTube stream on Wild Tangent, which is awesome.
Yep.
So we'll be doing more of that. We may even do our Facebook Live one that we do weekly on Wednesdays, which you really leave that one. But
big thanks to marketing for that effort, too.
yeah, exactly. Hey, we got Cameron over there, and we're the ones putting it up. So, but thank you also, Baltimore, for stopping in. Good to see you, man. Hope you enjoy and have a great weekend. Hope everybody else has a great weekend. And definitely, we'll be online playing. So if anybody sees us, just chime in. But otherwise, like I said, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week, next Thursday. Till then, see you later.
Take it easy.